Hello and welcome to Colouring with Colourful Crafts. Now, today I'm just doing a brief flick through of the colouring books that I have worked on recently. It's been a while since I've uploaded, so this is pretty much what I've been working on. I've had a little break from my new watercolour book, although I shall be showing you that on a separate video. So let's just move these ones out of the way for now. So the first one I worked on is Pop Manga Cute and Creepy Colouring Book by Camilla D'Errico. And the first page is this one of the lovely, well, what would you call her? Bee girl with a bee style hat. I think it's meant to be a beehive hat. I'm not sure. Anyway, for this I used watercolour, Sharpie Metallic for the detailing on the bees, and Glossy Accent by Ranger, which I can now present to you here, for her lips. I don't know how well that is catching it. Let me just bring my light down here a little bit. There, you see how glossy her lips are? So for that I used this Glossy Accents by Ranger. And this is really good for putting that kind of effect with your work. Well, it's something that I have personally found that's really worked for me. Oh, and again, on the wings, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got like a little wet look, a glossy look to the wings. Again, my camera's not very well at picking that up, but hopefully, I do apologise, that's my husband in the background. Let me just shut the door. Sorry about that. This is unscripted, so it's a bit of a madhouse. So there's that page. Now the second one I'm going to show is from Hot Tropics by Carl Magana. Now I did do the first page, I think I showed you this one, if I believe that's correct, and also that one of the mermaid. And then I worked on this next one, and I mostly used for her the Tricolour Spectrum Noir range of different pens, different colours. As you can see, I've got a whole stack of them at the side. I mostly use those for her. The only obvious downside with that is you're going to get, if you can see, a big bleed through from it. But I persevered and I tried my best at colouring her in. I don't think it worked as well. I'm not that impressed with it, I will be honest. I'm sure there's better examples of this page out there, but hey, I've decided, you know what, it's a colouring book, it's there for a bit of pleasure, and that's it really. Okay, so the next one I worked on is from City Among the Stars, and it was, let me just get to it here. I've got it marked off and it's not working. There we go. It was this one of all the lovely moths. I think they're meant to be moths. For this I use the Signo Uniball metallic pens for the detailing, especially for the gold, some of the gold tips. So these kind of pens, I'm sure you, if you're in the UK, you will know where to get these. I used a lot of that. I also used watercolour glitter, so like watercolour that had a lot of glitter in it. I think I've shown you this before. This is what I tended to use. Just bear with me. These ones. I got a set of them for about £30, I think, on Amazon. So they're quite a cheap set of watercolour, bit of sparkle to them. I used that. And then just a black Uniball pen, fine pen for the detailing. And that's it, that's all I did. But as you can see under the light, again I can use the light to hopefully cast a bit of a, you can see there, it's got shimmer on, it's very nice. In real life, as always, it looks so much better than it does on camera. I have started this new page with, again, a very pearlescent shimmery watercolours. I don't know if that's picking up very well, but no, as usual, it does not pick up. But that's what I've been doing with this page, and just going around the outside of the the clouds with these beautiful birds going across there. I thought that was going to be really good. It's going to be fun, and if you tune in again, you can see where that has got to, but that's where I am so far. Right, and then back to this book, which of course is Tales of Atlantis. Sorry, I am just trying to get that into position. I think I've come to the conclusion of all Hannah Carson's books, this is one of my absolute favourites. I just love every page. I love colouring it. It takes the watercolour really nice. It definitely has, and it is my absolute favourite of hers. So what I've done so far, obviously you've seen the mermaid. That was one of my last colourings. So I did this as the opening page. I do apologise if you see little splodges of ink at the side. That is just because I am messy and it goes everywhere and I can't help it. Terrible. So I used pearlized watercolour. Again, those watercolours I just showed you. Polychromos pencils. I've got my set at the side here. All of those for it. I also use the Dr. Phil Martin's white for the white spots. So for these little white spots here, which are meant to be stars, I use that. Now that is another thing to show you. Excuse me while I fetch it. Again, this is not a scripted video. So this one. Now, I think personally this is very, very good. There's a funny story behind this. I'd sent for something off Amazon and they'd sent me the wrong product, and oh no, that was it. I sent for something and then I was waiting for it to be delivered, and as usual they were taking forever. It was a seller off Amazon, and in the end I didn't think my parcel was going to arrive, so I just about given up, and then it did, and then but by that time I'd got the same thing coming again from the seller because we thought it was lost in the post, and I ended up getting two of the same. So being a good customer as I am, I contacted them back and said, oh hey, I've got two of the same thing. They said, don't worry, just buy something off our listings for the same kind of price and we'll just deduct that from the payment. Complicated story, as it always is. Anyway, I picked this and for some reason they sent me this, the actual thing. They didn't realise that I was buying it as a reduction from the, anyway, so I ended up, basically the long and short of it is I ended up with this. But I have found it to be really useful for doing small white details, and it doesn't bleed through. So one thing I was doing, because I've got this pen that's now, it's dried up, but I've kept it because it's got a felt tip end there, and if you just dip it into this, which kind of looks like a very opaque, kind of quite deep paint, but if you just dip it in, then you can like make these lovely white marks on your work, and it works so much better than, say, just using a Uniball, for example, the Uniball Signo white pen. I personally think it works better than this because that can sometimes have the bleed through from the other paint or the other even like the other pencil at the back, and it just works. That's what I use. Anyway, that's going off topic a bit. Then I use the Uniball Posca paint pens, particularly around here, just to give it a bit more of an edge, and a few felt tip for the edges around the shell, and also it might have looked better. Okay, so this is the thing. I put the moon up here. I'm thinking it would have been better as a little black one just at the corner there, but it's done now, so I can't really say much about it. Again, it's got that lovely pearlescent shine to it. If that's picking up on camera, I don't know, because I can't really see the camera for where I'm sat. And then I just put my name here, and there you go. I think these are meant to be, are these meant to be little seahorses? Or are they some other kind of sea sprite creatures? But do correct me if I'm wrong. And then the next one, moving on, is this one of the, now what would you call that, like an ancient artifact under the sea. I used watercolour and then a little bit of pen for the tentacles. I think they're called tentacles. Some gold pearlescent watercolour for the this statue thing that it's sat on. I did try to include a sunny earth effect. I'm just looking at what I've written here. I don't know what I've actually written. A sunny earth effect. Okay. you know when they say when you can't even read your own handwriting, it's like, oh my god, they say doctor's handwriting. I must be worse than that because I can't even read what I've written. Anyway, I think what I meant to say is it's meant to be a bit of a shiny earth effect there. I don't know. And then I went and put some highlighted light, what do you call them? Orbs along there. It was okay. It could have been better, but it was generally, I felt quite happy with how it came out. Then the next one I have done here was with watercolour, fine tip pens for the outer edges, so where that is, I guess. Pearlescent watercolour for the stems, so what I call stems, I mean these bits that are kind of like entwined and in between the, so if I just turn that a bit, you can slightly see a bit of a shine to it. And then a bit of shading with the polychromos just around the inside, shading outwards to give it, to bring it out sort of thing, if you see what I mean. Yeah, I was quite happy with that. Then I did this one here, which I don't know if it went wrong or not. It started off okay, and then I don't know, I decided to put like lines like you get on shells going across and that way, and I'm not quite sure if I've ruined it or not, but those were done with the polychromos again, the watercolour, some cheap pens for the edging, a Uniball Signo, I believe, sparkle pen. Oh yeah, just where you see that sparkly, you can see those sparkly bits of shells there. And then I just put on a few more light orbs around the top part, so just kind of bring it up. But I was quite happy with how it turned out in the end. And then the last one I've done was this, of the frog on a, well, I can't say it's a lily pad because it isn't, but do correct me if you know what that is actually meant to be. I suppose it's just meant to be like a rock, like a coral rock. I don't know. For that I use watercolour, my watercolour green Signo pens. So what I mean is this one, I use this one a lot for the frog. I found it really helpful actually. I use a black pen for the outlines, some cheaper pens for the outlines, so like to get a bit more definition around his legs and top part and a bit of his crown, his eye. And then again I use the Dr. Martens Bleed Proof White, this stuff again that you've seen before. That one incredible for the stars and parts of the detailing on the necklace and the eye. But that is really good stuff. So if you want to get it, I would recommend this 9 times over 10 out of the Signo white pens, or the basically anything I've ever known actually. I really like that stuff. So it's funny how a mistake can turn into something great. Oh, and I think I use a bit of pearlescent paints for the edges. It's just down there at the edge where that green's kind of catching the light. I use a bit for that. So that's the frog. And then I think to come on to my last one that I'm working on. Oh yeah, I think I've showed you that one. Well, the last one that I'm actually currently working on, sorry, is another one in this book by Jasmine Beckett Griffiths, I think, colouring book. That one I haven't done, but it's this one. It's called Poppy Magic. Now she does, yeah, acrylic paintings. So I think these are like remakes of her acrylic paintings, and I've started on this one again with the watercolour paints, and I'm not sure how well it's taking. I'll give you a brief flick through of some of the other ones that I have done in this. I did that one. That was an Alice Snow White. I did this way back in, it doesn't even say it, but I remember it took me a long time to get that as I wanted. But if you can, you know, it does work. You just have to put a lot more time into her her drawings, into her colouring books. Oh, and I also did her as well. And that I dated the 9th of the 10th, 2019, so that's quite a while ago. But yeah, I did her. I probably showed her in a previous video and maybe it's got deleted, but I was quite proud of that one. But I'm not sure about the one that I'm doing now in this. And I can't say it's... Oh, and there's another one I did. But I don't know when I did her. Yeah, so that's that. Can't see when I did it. Anyway, that's just a brief catch up of what I've been up to, and hopefully next time there should be a bit more to show you. And I'm also going to show you a bit of extra what I've been doing in my watercolour book that I recently purchased, which has been a lot of fun. Okay, but till then, keep happy and keep watching.